When you look at Beatrice Borromeo, it is almost impossible to believe that this elegant woman in a stylish gray dress gave birth to her third child only 2 months ago. Yet that is exactly how she appeared on Monaco's National Day on the 19th of November. And it was her very first public outing after giving birth to her daughter. Honestly, I was stunned by how she looked. No signs of tiredness, no hint of sleepless nights with a newborn, only that signature Borromeo elegance that makes her one of the most stylish royals in all of Europe. Let me tell you more about that day, because so many interesting things happened. Beatrice did not come alone. Beside her was her husband Pierre Casiraghi, the son of Princess Caroline, and their two older sons, 8-year-old Stefano and 7-year-old Francesco. And you know what? Watching this family was a real pleasure because they showed something you rarely see in royal circles: sincerity and genuine closeness. During the military parade, which traditionally takes place as part of the National Day celebrations, Beatrice and Pierre hardly stepped away from their eldest son, Stefano. The mother gently placed her hands on his shoulders and leaned toward him, while the father kept his hand on the boy's chest, clearly worried that young Casiraghi might at any moment break away and run off to explore the surroundings. It was so touching and so human. No stiff royal formality, only parental care and love. By the way, their younger aunt, 26-year-old Alexandra of Hanover, watched the scene with such a sweet smile that it was obvious this family truly has warm, close relationships. Alexandra, by the way, is Princess Caroline's daughter from her third marriage, so technically she is Pierre's half-sister. But the age difference makes her seem more like an older cousin to Pierre's children. And meanwhile, a different story was unfolding on the palace balcony. Beatrice and Pierre's younger son, Francesco, decided to get a better look at everything happening below and nearly leaned too far over the balustrade. Beatrice reacted instantly. She grabbed her son and held him firmly. At that moment, Stefano, standing to the left, looked as if all the energy had drained out of him. Apparently, the emotions of the day had taken their toll. And these are the moments I treasure most because they show that even in royal families, parents are still parents and children are still children, with all their mischief and spontaneity. But let us return to the main heroine of the day. Beatrice Borromeo is truly an extraordinary woman, and not only because she is beautiful and stylish. In October of this year, on the 13th day of the month to be exact, she gave birth to her first daughter, who was named Bianca Carolina Marta. And each of these names carries deep meaning. Carolina is, of course, in honor of Beatrice's mother-in-law, Princess Caroline of Monaco, daughter of the legendary Prince Rainier III and Princess Grace Kelly. And Marta is a tribute to Beatrice's maternal grandmother, Marta Marzotto, who was a true icon of Italian fashion. And here begins an especially interesting story because Beatrice is not just a beautiful princess who attends fashion shows and waves from balconies. She comes from one of the most distinguished Italian families, the Borromeo family, which has a centuries-long history. Her uncle, Count Matteo Marzotto, was once the president and director of the fashion house Valentino, so a connection to the world of high fashion really is in her blood. Before her marriage, Beatrice worked as a journalist. Can you imagine? A girl from an aristocratic family who could have simply enjoyed life chose the demanding profession of journalism. And now she has her own production company, Estrella Films, which creates documentary films on political and historical topics. And all of this while raising 3 children and fulfilling her duties as a member of Monaco's royal family. In March of this year, while still pregnant, she gave an interview to Icon magazine where she said some very important things about raising a daughter. Beatrice believes that the first thing a girl must be taught is financial independence. In her words, a woman should never be financially dependent on her parents or her partner. This does not mean she must earn huge amounts of money, but she must know how to live within her means and remain free. This year has been full for Beatrice. She turned 40 and celebrated her 10th wedding anniversary with Pierre. And you know what she says about her family life? that she and Pierre live a relatively normal life. They do not live in a palace, they have a regular apartment in the principality. When the boys are at school, Beatrice works on her film company, while Pierre works in the construction business. She describes her husband as a deeply honest and decent man with wonderful values and a vivid imagination, someone who loves adventures and makes their children's lives much more exciting. Of course, Beatrice and Pierre, with their children, were not the only ones present at Monaco's National Day. Prince Albert II arrived with his wife, Princess Charlene, and Princess Caroline and Princess Stephanie were there as well. Charlotte Casiraghi, Pierre's older sister and Princess Caroline's daughter, looked very elegant in a yellow suit and sat next to her half-sister, Alexandra of Hanover. And this is why Beatrice's appearance on National Day is so important. It is not just her first outing after giving birth, it is a statement that a modern woman can be a successful professional, a loving mother of 3 children, a devoted wife, and still stay true to herself. That it is possible to work, raise children, be a member of a royal family, and not lose your identity. Beatrice Borromeo represents a new generation of royals who do not simply follow traditions, but create new ones. They show that it is possible to live a relatively normal life, have your own career, and still fulfill your royal duties. And most importantly, they show that family and warm relationships matter more than any protocol. That is why we love watching them. That is why their lives fascinate us. Because behind all the royal glitter, we see real, living people with their joys and worries, their love and their dreams.